Okay, chapter 14, Someone Like You. Winter took Cheyenne to Drake. You are lucky. You don't have to climb this. Why don't you use the Drakens to change this terrain? That would defeat its purpose. Don't worry, I know my way. Stay near me, don't fly to the top. We're not in the shield yet. She did as told, and when they reached the top, Winter pulled a small object from his pack and pressed it. It lit up. There was a swooshing sound as the shield disarmed. They walked in, and he pushed the button again, and the shield reinforced. He led her to the city. The Drakens bowed to him on his arrival. They didn't talk much. He brought her to his kingdom and sent her off with some women who curiously looked at her in awe. She did not feel threatened by them, only a little bashful. It's all right, he smiled. She was bathed and properly dressed as queen. They brought her to the dining room where many lovely, enticing, delicious kind of cooked meat and fruits were upon the table. The seafood was almost disgusting to her at this point. She smiled happily, and then her smile dropped from her face when Winter walked in. He wore a gigantic headdress that stood full of feathers. It was mostly white. It was accented with gold, brown, purple, and gray feathers. It sparkled with gems. He pulled out a chair for her, and she sat eager and giddy. After they ate, Cheyenne talked. When are you leaving? In a couple days. Good. I thought you were leaving now. No, I have a surprise for you. What surprise? She tried to read him and got nowhere. Winter laughed. You cannot rule me, Cheyenne. I know. We're getting married tomorrow. Evan in his current state was helpless against his foes. He now wore Trillium's amulet. But that's how my grandfather died, he said of Duran's request. He held it in the sunlight. You will not. You will bring it back to me. Yes, he would, and by the time he reached Elkstaff on Polar Mist, most of his power would be recharged. I saw Cheyenne. I saw the Draken. You didn't have her, did you? Trillium asked, and Duran grew furious. You have it here? How did you hide that from me? I also know where the scepter is. Give me the tear. I can't. I threw it into the sea. Why did you do that, Trillium? So that you can't find it. Duran screamed and grabbed her head with his hand. When your friends show up, you're going to bring me the Drakens. You're going to pretend you're fighting me. You will assemble an Adrella army to search for Cheyenne where the scepter is. Take Winsfeld with you. Tell him that's where Cheyenne is. Bring me the scepter. Bring me the tear. Winter and Cheyenne were married the next day. After the ceremony, he took her back to their room in their palace. You look so beautiful in Draken clothing. I can't wait to take them off. Yay! He didn't wait. The next morning, she wanted him to love her again. I need my power. I don't have the scepter. The scepter is safe, at least for a while. Be good. He bid her farewell and left her with the Drakens. They were nice and helpful. They loved their new king and their beautiful winged queen. They talked to her and liked her. She read many books in this time. She had them teach her the way of the spear and about their technology. She learned their weapons and taught them how to shoot an arrow. She read all of the history and was now reading about how to make a harp. After time, she had the Drakens make many sets of bow and arrows. They built her a harp in which she played for them and even joined her songs with their own instruments. The ships gathered around the mountains. While they were getting ready to unload, Trillium came out running to them. I know where Cheyenne is. I know where Duran is. They let her upon board. Neja came to her and read her. He didn't get much. Duran is in the mountains. You must go after him. Cheyenne is in the sea with the scepter. I need Winsfeld, your son, to go with me. Duran told me Evan is not a Falconberry, but I escaped him. He's alive up there. She pointed to the mountains. Garrett scanned her. She's telling the truth, Garrett agreed. Cheyenne flew to Trillium. I'll go with you to find Cheyenne, Zach volunteered. Where's Evan? Neja asked. I don't know. Minnie scanned Trillium this time, but she resisted them with Duran's strength. Send Jin and Kai first. Why them? Nemi asked suspiciously. They can beat him. No, they can't. Why them? Nemi pushed. She had Jade and Zane's power. She could scramble. She was just as strong as Trillium 2, Duran. Because they are Draken, Trillium answered. Evan reached the shores of Elkstaff. He got off Polar Mist and crept through the land invisible. He came to the spot Trillium instructed him, and he held out the amulet. The door opened, and he slipped inside the temple, holding the black velvet bag. This was just too easy. He must return the eye to Duran. Duran was his master, his king now. When he crept inside, Zane attacked him. Evan dropped the bag and pulled his sword. He had enough power to stay invisible, but not enough to break Duran's spell on him. Evan pulled the eye out of its place, suspended the black bag, and placed it in the bag. The bag disappeared. Zane put on a pair of goggles that allowed him to see body heat, and he lunged with his spear. Evan grew scared because Zane could see him. Drop the eye! Duran is not your master. I am. But Evan, too, Sasha, left the temple with the eye. Zane followed him to the ship. Zane charged his energy in his palms and threw everything he had at Evan. Drop the eye, he demanded. But Evan did not, because Evan was now his equal. Evan stopped him from moving. He began to sail off and left Zane frozen. He would need the scepter to beat Evan. He couldn't fly, but he could outswim him. He held strong in his mind to follow Evan, even though his body wasn't ready yet. Trillium and Zack went into the sea. They swam with Zeed. Zeed had some kind of necklace that summoned the Adrella. Every single one of them came about. There were hundreds of them. Nemi was able to get a little from Trillium, but not anything she really needed to know. Zack was a piece of cake, along with her brother. This way, Zeed ordered his troops. Follow Trillium. They all followed her. She had no idea where the tear was, but hoped that the scepter would find it for her. They reached the spot before the boundaries and sent a group in to explore. Something lit up, and there were beams of light coming out of every metal box around the perimeter. The beams connected to each other and shot out lights of all different colors. All 50 Adrella were sliced to pieces by the lasers. Holy shit, I'm not going in there, Zack screamed. No, nobody's going in there. Cheyenne was in the middle of playing the harp for the Drakens when the shield dropped. She stopped, looked around, and some of the Draken men rushed off. She continued to play, but soon the Draken warriors grabbed her and took her to a secret location under their palace. The Adrella retreated from the boundaries. After a while of swimming, the Adrella attacked King Zeed. Zack was in disbelief. He couldn't do anything to stop them. There were too many of them. Why did they kill King Zeed? Zack asked Trillium. Trillium gave him Zeed's necklace. I told them to, Trillium 2, Duran said. Just then they could hear the harp. Cheyenne! She's in Drake. I have to find her. No, you're not going anywhere. You're going to find the seeing tear. Why? So you can give it to Duran, traitor? No, Duran is going to Drake to get Cheyenne. I had my brother killed so that you could be king of the Adrella. That doesn't make any sense. I'm not the king of HAVENBELL. No, you must find the tear. Then we go to Drake. The real king of HAVENBELL will come for Cheyenne, and I want you to kill him. I want you to get the scepter and my daughter and kill Duran. Dun, dun, dun. Zane heard the harp playing. Bad girl, he muttered. But he did not fear. Evan's force wore off and Zane jumped into the sea. Zane headed for Drake, and Evan headed straight for Duran. He reached the mountains. Sasha waited for him invisible and snatched the bag from his hands. The minute it left his hands, he was no longer under Duran's spell. Evan turned around. He couldn't see her and he couldn't use his force on her. Duran came out holding the bag. You will join us. You will belong with us and your power will grow. They all hate you now that you've stolen the eye and turned against them. I will not give you the scepter, and you shall not take it from me. You will serve me." "No, I won't." "Yes, you will." Evan refused, so Duran and Sasha tied him to the mountainside and cast a spell on him until he settled down and was ready to be more helpful. Duran changed into an owl and took the eye with him to Drake. Now he could draw out the one. Now he will come. Duran landed on the top crest of the rocks in Drake when the eye warned him to stop. This place was filled with traps, and he would not live if he tried to enter. So he returned to the mountains where all of the wizards waited for him. He landed on the mountain top and transformed. Before him were many ships, wizards, and 2 dragons. He intended to get them first. He wondered what was taking Trillium so long. With his power, she should be able to conquer all of them. He had the eye, though, and the eye itself could kill many creatures. If he could make Evan do his bidding, he would be unstoppable. The wizards began to climb the mountainside. Feathers began to fly overhead. Elves crept up silently through the trees. "They are coming. Are you going to hide?" Sasha asked Duran. "Nay, you will." Neja and Farisef led the Josepharian army. They were the first ones to find him. They shot arrows and their air fans at the Ortson, but they fell around him. "Does he have a shield or something?" "I don't know." Neja and Farisef both shot a beam at him from their hands. They weren't close enough, and Duran saw this and shot his own beam, which sent both of their charges back to them. Farisef raised his shield and took the hit. The beam hit the shield and deflected. Neja, on the other hand, was struck and stunned. He fell from the sky. Farisef used his power of wind to slow him down. It was not as strong as a power of force, but still useful. Farisef dropped his weapons, dove, and tried to catch Neja. He grabbed him, but Neja was his own weight, and although Farisef could still use his wings, Neja's weight pulled both of them down to the ground. A fairy flew in to help Neja. "Stay grounded until you recover. We have to get closer to him." "Don't get too close. He'll be able to use his mind powers," the fairy warned. Farisef flew back up to fight and pulled some more air fans from his pack. He ordered the army to shoot at him once more. Duran held up his shield and formed a ball of light with his other hand. The weapons didn't fall around him like last time. Duran's charge was released and the weapons exploded away from him. Some even started to steer themselves. Evan must be helping him. Many of Farisef's army were stabbed, hurt, and killed. Some fell down to take care of their injuries. Others fell lifeless, hit the cliffs, and smashed down the rocks until their bodies came to a final stop. Farisef ordered his troops to retreat so they could reform. The elven army crept up silently from all sides. They began to shoot arrows at him. It would have been a good idea, except his armor was too thick and their arrows did him no harm. "They're all around us," Sasha spoke to his mind. "Try to camouflage yourself, and I will walk with you and keep them from you." Duran used his mind power to confuse them, and Sasha kept using her force powers to push them away. More arrows were shot at them, but they were pushed away as well. Then a very good shot was made, and it struck Duran's chest plate. He used his mind power to find his attacker. He raised his hand to sense their presence, because he could not see any of them. He crept up, then suddenly turned around the trunk of the tree. He grabbed and lifted the elf, who barely weighed anything, and held him up in the air, and his sword to his neck. The elf's eyes were large and frightened. "Jaisha," he smiled and held her in the air for a moment. She was the one who had killed his wife, but she had already lost her love for Duran because of Lar's spell. He would have killed Jaisha. He lowered his sword and her. He touched her head with his hand, then released her. She ran the other way. Jack and Nemi tried to follow Duran. They thought they had found him because there was a battle going on up ahead, but it wasn't Duran. It was Jaisha, and she was shooting the elven army. "We have to stop her," Nemi insisted. Not only was she a wizard, she was a very good shot, and most of their army was helpless to her. Some of them began to run away from her, but then others began helping her kill. Jack approached and shot fire out of his hands, enclosing her in a circle. She stopped, and Nemi was about to use the scramble on her to confuse her, but instead tried to make her move mentally. "Oh no," Jasha said. Jack and Nemi both held her shoulders and tried to heal her, and tried to help heal her by giving her a part of their powers. She wept. "It's okay, but the three of us must unspell them." Together, the three of them stopped the elves from killing each other. "Jasha, retreat and take who's left with you." "They saw what I did." "It's not your fault or theirs. Go with her, Nemi." "You're not fighting Duran by yourself. I must be with you to challenge him. Even if we both die, we must stay together. Your love saved me when all the goodness within me was gone. When all I faced was ruin, you made me believe again, in myself. You brought me back, and I will never leave you." Jack ordered the troops to retreat. Jasha started down the mountains as well. "Why didn't you kill her?" Sasha asked. "She's a wizard and could spell their own army. I wanted to, but she's much more useful this way." Sasha understood the reason, but read his mind anyway. She didn't know who that woman was until she did this. She knew that the only thing good, other than the strength her brother had, was that he finally had gotten the woman he loved this time. She would be back soon. Whether or not Duran was strong enough to kill the King of HAVENBELL or find the scepter of Zane, at least he had gotten one of the things he wanted. Even though Duran was power-hungry and ruthless, Sasha remembered the way he used to be. He was always strong and powerful, but very fair and good-hearted, which was rare for an Ortson. He was a happy man at one time. She was there when it all happened to him, the beginning of his decline. She understood this more than anyone else did. She wanted him to have Trillium's heart, because it was the only last goodness left inside of him. He meant to kill many with or without Trillium to get the scepter, and she didn't care, because the Drakens had nearly killed off their entire race. She knew love would not cure his fury. Sasha hoped Duran would receive more than just one of his desires. Suddenly, Duran was shocked by a beam and fell over. Sasha grabbed the sack with the eye in it and disappeared. An elf approached them and pulled out a short sword. Jack threw the sword at Duran's unarmored neck. He only had a moment to slit Duran's throat. The sword was thrown away and Jack was thrown backwards. He landed on his back and then got to his feet again. "Evan, stop helping him!" Jack shouted. "Stop helping him, Evan!" Nemi yelled. Because they don't know who Sasha is. They think it's Evan. Jack threw fire from his hands and set fire all around Duran. He could see Evan's figure when the flames bounced off his armor. Jack and Nemi both tried to mentally control him even though he was invisible. Jack lifted Duran's body into the air. Duran opened his eyes and Sasha threw a beam at Jack, which knocked him over. Duran fell to the ground. Nemi closed in to scramble Duran. This was her last chance, but Sasha threw Nemi away from him. She landed in the bushes. Jack got up. He blew fire from his hands and approached Duran with his sword again. Duran looked him straight in the eyes. Jack was almost his equal. With Nemi down, he couldn't budge Duran's mind. Farisef and Nezha flew in. Farisef threw air fans, but all were turned around upon them. One turned around and sliced Nezha's leg. He fell and began to bleed. "Hurts you more than it hurts me," Nezha said, and Sasha turned visible and grabbed her leg. Pain reversal. "Where's Evan?" Jack asked Duran. Farisef went to help Nezha stop the bleeding. Nemi began to stir. "He's no longer on your side. He knows his powers and is growing stronger every minute. I've already been training him. None of the council will be able to stop him. He will do as he pleases without your control on him. You are not his father anyway." "Yes, I am," Jack said. He made a fire around the woman. He blasted fire at her. She turned her face from it and tried to use what was left of her force to block it. Jack saw the bag with the eye in it, and when he tried to pull it to him, Duran shocked him again, and Jack was flown over. Jack was still awake. Nemi had stood up, but she was weak. Farisef and Nemi tried to charge upon Sasha and Duran. Then Sasha and Duran began to chant strange words. "That's not the ancient language. That's arts and sorcery. We must retreat to save ourselves," Neja warned. "Retreat," Duran pushed and immediately continued to chant. Nemi began to sing a song to block the messages. "I got myself a rocking horse, got myself a king, found a land far away, more sacred than anything. I got myself a castle on the clouds up high. I got myself a jester who never means to make you cry. Up and down the staircase, up and down the staircase, pages of my books are falling, floating past your face. I got myself a rocking horse, many splendid things. I am by the wishing well, waiting for the king." Nemi and Jack used every bit of power they had left to shield the minds of their friends from the Ortson's spell as they headed back down the mountains. That would be so scary. That's why I want Ridley Scott. I better hurry up. I wanted Ridley Scott to do my movies because he would make it so scary and so beautiful and sci-fi at the same time. But oh man, like they're chanting that weird the Arts and Sorcery dude, and he goes, "Retreat." And he started chanting. It creeped me out. I wrote it and it creeps me out. Winter took Cheyenne from Drake and they both jumped into the sea, but there were thousands of Adrella waiting for them. "Let us pass," Winter said. None of them moved. He drew his blades and gave Cheyenne hers. "Take us to Zach Winsfeld," Cheyenne said. For some reason they moved. It was Cheyenne, and they were going to take her to the other Adrella that looked like her. "No! You must go to the scepter now and wait. Here's your key. Don't lose your key." Cheyenne swam as fast as she could to the boundaries. When she got there, Trillium was waiting. "Tell me where the Draken is, Cheyenne." Trillium pushed. She couldn't read her. "Where's the Seeing Tear? Does he have the scepter?" Cheyenne smiled at Trillium. "Stay right here." Cheyenne, too, Winter told her mother, and she slipped behind the boundaries. She doesn't tell her nothing. She does exactly what Winter tells her to do. Winter came to the boundaries and found Zach and Trillium there. "Do you have the tear?" Winter pressed. "No," Trillium responded. He couldn't read either one, for Trillium made Zach stronger. Their minds were equal, but not strong enough because both of them had a hole. It was his wife. He knocked Trillium with a beam of light. Winter, being a victim to love himself, frightened Trillium. "Verisef's going to die. Duran is just about to kill him. You better go." Trillium swam to the surface and left Zach alone. Winsfeld was weak now that Trillium was gone. "Who are you?" Zach asked. "I'm the king of Havenbell." "Saucelle? It can't be." "It is." "Where's Cheyenne?" "There is no Cheyenne." I love this book. Dun, dun, dun. Now he doesn't know who she is, yeah. Winter rushed in and grabbed Cheyenne. He pressed his forehead to hers. "I was so certain you were going to come out with the scepter and get yourself killed." "Zach wouldn't have killed me." "No, I would have killed you. To protect the scepter of Zane from Duran at all costs. That is my mission. Cheyenne, you didn't leave. You didn't even warn your mother. Good girl. Good girl. That was good. I think I know a way to stop the Aztracs." "Is it over? Did Mother die?" "No, I sent her to fight Duran." "And Zach?" "I sent him too, but I erased his memory." "He doesn't remember me at all?" "No, neither of us." "But that's cruel." "Yes, which is why I didn't do it to you. I spared his life for you. I spared your mother too." "He'll be back." "Yes, he will. We must go to Claire Anne. I must walk through the Grove of Souls to find the tear." Trillium climbed aboard Nej's ship, and Nemi threw a blanket over her. Where's Farisef at? We don't know. He came back with us, but he left again. That's not good. I left Zack by the scepter. I saw something strange. I saw the king of Havenbell. He is an Adrella, and Duran and Evan must never find out. Zack came up to the ship. Where's Duran? Where's Cheyenne? Who's Cheyenne? We must save Farisef now, and we shall all kill Duran together. Go find Farisef, Zack! Find him right now! Trillium screamed, and Zack flew. I will put you to sleep if you like, Winter offered. No, I can survive, right? It's dangerous, but you are strong enough. They walked into the grove together. When they walked out, Winter was pissed. Zack has it. I should have killed him, but I spared him for you. Good thing he doesn't know who we are anymore. I must take the scepter and erase them all now. What about the Aztracs? Won't they take us in? Yes, that's not a bad idea. What are you hiding from me? Nothing. What did the grove tell you? Nothing. Cheyenne, do not resist me. I rule you. You made the oath. We must stop Zack, but we have bigger problems than just that. Cheyenne, we must stop his son as well, Ezra, the fairy tri-breed.